go. Okay. 7:35, we call this meeting to order. And if you would lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? I have one. We are recording the minutes, and we do not have them revised into a written form. So I would like to ask that we not do approval of the minutes for May 18th until everyone can get a copy and read it. We'll just do it at the next meeting if we can get that done. So we'll take approval of the meetings off, and then we need to have a staff report. We need to have a discussion on, well, Suzanne's here today, on hiring another employee, staff person. So those are my two corrections. Any other corrections or deletions?
This is June 1st, right? Okay, on my copy, number 5 is finance report. I didn't notice that before, and I did not prepare any updates.
Okay. We'll just take that off and do that at the next meeting.
I'm sorry.
We got a good report at the last meeting.
We need a finance report.
Well, I can give you just a real brief update, I guess, when we get to that, just about bond debt
Okay. Yeah.
payments.
Okay. We'll just leave that on then. Any others? Okay, then can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
That's
all.
Let's go.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, moving on. So let's go right to staff report. We talked to Suzanne for a moment at the last meeting and said we'd be getting her something, and she advertised for staff. Well, we didn't get her anything, so we need to talk about today. I think that at the last meeting, we talked about looking at the past contract and making sure that that's what we still wanted, which I can't see any reason why we wouldn't. Is there any question on that? Can we just get her a copy of that contract? Or at least review it so that she has it for, on our website? Is that where we should put it? Or not? Is that too public?
Everybody got a copy,
No,
right?
you send it by email.
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't copy you? I meant to, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. So I could also post it on the city website and different places like that too, besides the DDA website if you want. Okay,
That would be
we'll
good.
put it everywhere we put it.
Okay,
That
okay,
doesn't cost money.
okay. And that we were accepting applications for that position, right? Board?
Yeah,
Any
Yeah,
comments on
absolutely,
this?
no.
you know,
Okay.
I hope it's easier trying to find help nowadays, people to do
I
stuff.
know.
It's,
know.
it's,
How many hours are you going to be doing? Do you think?
What was the maximum? 10
10.
per
10 hours a week.
week?
yeah.
And Corey wasn't even anywhere remotely close.
Okay,
I think he was at 10 per month.
okay. And do
Roughly.
you want help with the interview process with our HR, or are you going to do that yourselves?
Board?
Oh, we did it ourselves last time.
Okay.
I have no
We'll
problem
just
doing it
post it for you
ourselves.
then.
Okay. We'll just do it ourselves then.
So the job description that we used last time, that's the one?
Yes.
I'll
Do you-
you want me just to use that one? Then
That's-
I don't even need anything. I'll just put that job description up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did we
Very much.
did we say anything about constant contact knowledge, or that's not really that important?
Oh.
You can really mention it?
I don't remember there being anything about that
Is that
specifically.
really that difficult, or is that something you can go over with the person? Okay, then it's good.
May I ask one more question?
Yes.
When, how long would you like it to run for? When would you like to start the review process of the applications?
I'd say immediately.
I think
Maybe
as soon as-
before we have any other meetings.
I think as soon as
Right.
possible.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully, I would say maybe run it, plan for 2 weeks, see what we get, and hopefully we've got at least 1 or 2
Let's-
to interview,
We're
right?
running for 3.
3
That way
weeks.
that puts us a week out from the next, that'll put us roughly a week out from the next meeting to review any potentials, but if we set for 3 weeks, then we have a week to review whatever came in. Anybody?
Fine with me, if they want 3, that's kind.
Who should do the interviewing
Big-
when they come in?
Is there anyone that particularly wants to be on the interview process, in the interview process? Okay, Nick would be one. Do you want to do that?
Yeah,
Okay, do we have
just
any
have to
other?
set up a time.
Because
Because there won't be during a meeting that we would do.
No,
Yeah, I can do
no, there should be at least 2.
Yeah.
And an alternate.
that. Okay.
I could be one as well. Do we have another one?
All
An
alternate.
Okay. And Murph will be an alternate, so Nick and I will be on the interview committee and Murph will be an alternate. And then that'll give us just 2 people at the interview, so that should be all right, right?
Exactly.
Fit in within our, okay. Okay, any more comment on that? Suzanne, you got everything you need?
I do, I'll take
Okay.
care of that, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the financial report. Hi, Robert.
Good morning, apologies.
It's okay.
On the tail of a long weekend.
We meeting?
Yeah.
But it was a long weekend.
Today
I'm tired.
Okay, we're just doing a brief financial report, just a little update on we have to make a payment, so Tanner's gonna fill us in on that.
2012 series and 2018 series bond payments are due. Let's see, we turned in the paperwork for one of them. I think the other one is to sign and submit today. And
And I didn't come by yesterday because it was closed.
Okay.
It was a holiday weekend, so I thought, no point, so I didn't bother you.
Yeah, I had all my mail ready to go. I did bank deposits. I had everything ready. I'm going out the door, and one of my staff reminded me.
Just another day.
Uh,
So anyway,
Well
go
done,
ahead.
Steph. Good deal.
I don't recall the precise amounts, but it's principal and interest payments are paid together. It's very much exactly as budgeted, with exception of the 2012 series bond interest amount. We're about $1,500 below budget. So,
I love below budget.
Mhm.
I think that's just
$1,500
great.
below budget?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah.
so
So.
that's going
Here
in.
we are, saving money again.
There's a payment due to the city for the city loan payment. That's due June 30th. It'll come before our next meeting, so I do plan to authorize that and submit it. FYI.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, it was a pretty good report at our last meeting, so. The development proposals for Woodland Station, and I would say this is the proposal on the landscape development part of our 3-legged proposal. Who would like to talk about that? I know that Jan, we set up some little chores for us all to do at the last meeting, and Jan got right on it, and I don't know if that came to fruition. I know they were hauling llama poo, and they were,
Did we get the one with Boot Hall? I'll have to call it Carl. Yeah.
She called Carl.
I know,
or-
but Carl called me a couple times asking some questions, and I'm like, get it over there. I'll bring in my 4-wheeler and my little trailer we'll spread it with that, as soon as we don't have an actual manure spreader and tractor and everything else.
Got a rake.
I got a shovel.
Mary Jo,
I got a shovel.
did you get the
And
email I
another
sent?
shovel, like a
Shovel.
Yeah, what-
I
you
did
know that.
not, Jerry.
Oh,
I did not.
did you get it, Tanner? Cool. Because I talked with Don Humphrey, Don's Garden Shop, and he's telling me there's 2 mixes we can use. We'll need about 35 to 50 pounds per acre, so depending on how much. He
This
says,
is grass seed proper, is that?
yep.
Okay.
And he says the first is a multicolored high altitude mix at $7.20 a pound retail. My cost is $5.20. It has Ephraim wheatgrass, sheep's fescue, perennial rye, chewing fescue, Canadian bluegrass, Rocky Mountain wildflower seed. Okay, so that's one option. And I asked him for high altitude hardy stuff, so these are the combinations. And he says the second is a mountain mix, and it's $3.60 a pound. Our cost is $2.75. It's consists of winter rye, trapezoid rye, Kentucky blue forage, mountain brome, orchard grass, climate timothy, and boy, I can't believe this stuff. Anyway, the names they come up with. But he indicated that it definitely needs to be scarcified into the ground. I don't know so much about fertilizing and stuff, if that's totally necessary, but it needs to be heavily raked or scarcified. Not my recommendation, if we did do that, would to get a piece of equipment to do it. And he indicated that he thought that we were a little bit late on our approach, that ideally for an unirrigated lot, if we got it before the last snows came in, that would have been ideal. So we're pushing it. The irrigating is going to be an issue right now. I did talk to him about the tree spade, and I contacted Harding Nursery, and I didn't hear back from Harding Nursery, but Don told me that they don't have a tree spade, so they don't do that kind of stuff. He indicated that a 3-foot tree spade seemed awful small for the size of trees that we were looking to do, and that he did cautioned us about the timing of those transplanting. I did indicate it was higher altitude, but he seemed to think that we might have missed the winter.
I think we did too.
Yeah. So, I guess, are you guys talking about bringing in fertilizer for the seeding? Or is that
I wanted to say, we talked about that pile of beautiful black dirt sitting over on the neighbor's property. And as far as I know, Lamb owns that dirt, and it's being stored there. So I thought I might just get a hold of him, Mark Lamb, and ask him if he would be willing to sell that. So, because he hasn't used it for several years, maybe he would be willing to sell that.
Well, I got a neighbor down the street that has big old huge pile of fertilizer that he's spreading all over his grass. And I asked him where he got it, and he got it from the city. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, you just have to go get it. It's free. So what it is, it's from the treatment plant. It's human waste. And is that right?
If it's from the treatment plant, yeah.
But
Might be some dog
so,
food mixed in, I don't know.
So evidently we could have as much fertilizer free as we want if you guys want to go that way.
Well,
I'm liking
Do
the
we-
llama food.
The rice,
do we need to go into executive session to talk about that?
the rice grows really well in Southeast Asia. I don't know, you might-
I'm not sure
They
how the
recommend
public
research
would
before you use it.
feel about that. I don't know.
I think they want us to shit or get off the phone.
Yeah.
Say.
You're on a roll this
He
morning.
said, I think they would want us to shit or get off the pot. So,
There's a lot of good
well,
jokes in there.
the price is certainly right.
Okay.
So,
I mean, all
Do
you'd
we
have to
get
do
Lana,
is.
what's her name along with it? The Price is Right.
Well, I think a lot of people in Woodland Park use that as fertilizer.
do you? So if that's the case, then it might not be too bad.
I don't think it really has
Okay.
a stigma
That's,
about it.
Okay.
it's been,
Even though-
it's been processed.
Yeah.
Well, like
Well,
I
it's
said-
actually, as far as I understand, it's not only processed, but isn't it mixed with tree bark or something? They take it
Yeah.
and churn it and
Yeah.
mix it with something
A
else.
lot of people use it as
Yeah.
compost.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Then-
temperatures, high
then we
temperatures.
could probably
yeah.
get away with
Yeah.
that without having any kind of public scrutiny on it.
You just call it
Okay.
Curry Road.
Well, now, most of that over there is just, red dirt. Gravelly red dirt. So, what we have there, we've got a little bit of topsoil on those two upper levels. They, I think, are level enough. I don't think would have to be touched. But everything below that needs to be graded and smoothed out before we put anything much down.
Question?
Don't you agree?
Well, I've got a question before you
Yes.
do that part. So, according to the landscape plan that's existing in place, how much grass seed, wildflower seed how much of that land acreage of that plan would we need to, are we talking 5 acres, 10 acres, 50?
Well, the whole vacant property is 6.63 acres, if that gives you any idea. The southern portion is fairly well seeded and vegetated. They're just south of the intersection of Center and Saddle Club, could use quite a bit. There's some erosion that's happened there, some ruts that have formed from just water running, but that's an area we've planned for access and parking. So I'm not sure we would want to vegetate that. If we have any millings available or other materials, I think we would be surfacing that for truck and RV and trailer parking.
So no grass can grow, right?
No, so I think we're down to 2 or 3 acres. Even the northern, the lot 2 area is vegetated to some degree. So
So if we had 3 acres, for example, then we're only looking at putting fertilizer over 3 acres. Is that right?
550 pounds of
How much?
550 pounds. You said 50 pounds per acre, yes, Jerry?
that was the seed.
No,
Or
that's,
seed.
Yeah, 35 to 50, I think.
Okay.
so you were talking 527 or 275. What was the difference between the two? One was the quality of it? I'm just trying to think, are we thinking about putting the fertilizer over the seed? Is that the idea?
I would say put this fertilizer in on first, and then work the seed into the fertilizer and the dirt.
Yeah, drag it and then
The
drag it in.
Drag
seed
the
should go
fertilizer
last,
in
yes.
and then drop your
Drag
seed.
the fertilizer in, drag the seed, and then put the seed down. But you want to drag the seed in also because if you don't, the birds will just eat it up and be gone
Okay.
for the most part, and they'll scatter it elsewhere.
And then
Fertilized.
what Don said is the sun will bake it, and it won't
Yeah.
grow.
Okay.
So you need to cover it, is what he's saying.
So 150 pounds of seed, is that right? 50 per acre, or are we going to do 3 acres?
35 to 50 per acre.
Oh, 35 to 50, okay.
3 acres might be a bit much. You asked, according to that plan, the 2016
That's
temporary
what I'm
use
looking
plan,
at.
well, that plan calls for access routes throughout the property that eat up a pretty good amount of the square footage
Okay.
on that northern part. So if we can cover those areas in something other than seed, it reduces the square footage of seed we would need. So anyway, if we go with, say, 3 acres at 50 pounds, that's 150 pounds times.
150 times 5.
We either have 520 or 275, depending on which mix that you want. I'm not sure we would need the wildflowers in there. It would be nice to have wildflower seed, but I think just through some landscaped areas, we could have some,
Just like clusters of it?
right.
I would agree with you. I think just the high altitude mountain mix would be
So is that the
grassy.
275 versus the 527?
Yeah.
Right.
275. So 275 times 150?
Mhm.
412, is that right? No, that's not right. 275 times, yeah, 275 times 150 pounds?
Uh-huh.
Well, it is, it's only 412.
Well, I question, the other day I was kind of looking at it, and just that center area is really the most barren. Everything else seems to be
Mhm.
kind of
Grass did mow.
vegetated.
Well, and Nick mowed it last year, so you know how
Yeah,
much grass is
and
down below.
it's just that area where you talk about where the
Yeah.
slope comes down.
And how many, that's not that big a.
An acre?
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah, probably about
So we need to, first thing, we need to get a grader in there to level it. Then, if we can get some free,
Between that and llama
then
food.
we can, right,
Yeah.
spread that, and then get the grass seed. By then, we should know how many acres is there that we will need. Because if they have to grade some of the grassed area up to smooth it out, we'll have to receive
They
that.
probably will. on that kind
Walking over there, as I remember, some of those
It's rough.
grassy areas were kind of,
of- Yeah, it's rough.
yeah, pretty rough, so.
So, Suzanne, can I put you on the spot?
Of course.
Okay.
Can I say no?
Well, I don't know how much you're filled in.
Maybe
on.
you should have.
Really, that's the only thing. I had talked to Michael about the tailings and the boulders.
Yes.
He said he'd look into them.
Yes.
Do you happen to know if did he happen to talk to you at all about where
He
that?
didn't, and as you know, he's been away.
He's been away, yeah.
Today will be his first day back,
Right.
so I'll mention it to him when I see him
Okay.
and see if I can get you an answer.
Okay. And so the other question that I was thinking about in that regard is, if we're looking at grading, is that something we can contract with the city for? Or do we need to have somebody outside? That's kind of where my head was going with
On behalf of Public Works, I would say somebody from the outside, because as you
Very
know, from
low staff,
the
yeah.
email that we sent out
Yeah.
regarding the potholes, we have no staff right now.
Anything,
We
right.
can't find, you go upstairs and you look at our bulletin board, it's filled with jobs. We can't find people to work right now.
that. And thanks to Joe.
They all died from COVID.
No, they're getting paid for staying
Okay.
Oh, they died from COVID.
I would hate to put another thing on our Public Works.
That's a very good.
Yeah.
So we have to find a contract.
Can we rent
What
city
do they get
equipment?
paid for? Yeah, can we rent city equipment?
Pardon me?
Can we rent city equipment?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
That comes with
Probably
the liability.
It's a
and
liability.
just as the risk manager, I just think that would be not a cool thing to do.
So if we got
I'm
our
insured.
insurance?
What if we found somebody capable of operating city equipment? Could they become a temporary city employee? Staffing is the issue. Can we just, oh, I'm serious.
Interesting, right?
Or is the city authorized to contract that labor and hire somebody to run the equipment?
I think I'm gonna go upstairs now.
You weren't getting a good.
Well,
I'm just trying to find a way, I mean, you
On the
know,
spot, I mean, it's like-
if equipment's sitting there and there's no one to run it, find somebody to run it, we could do that.
They do get a twofer, right? Find something you're running. The
Okay.
city says, okay, great, you do that, you do this for us.
Okay,
Temporary.
then we're back to, we need to find an operator with equipment. We need to determine how much needs to be leveled and where, according to the plan. So we need to readdress that plan with that landscaper or operator.
If we have enough material, I don't think there's much, if any, grading to be done. There are some ruts over there from erosion, but they're not very big. And material would just fill that in and even it all out. So,
So is it kind of fair to say then that really what we need is a tractor with a, what do you call that, scraper thing on the back?
Not split.
No, the.
Scarcifier.
Scarcifier, that's it.
Well, yeah, well,
And then maybe a cedar?
if it's a matter of just kind of filling ruts and stuff, a skid steer over at the how-to store is right there.
And that's where I was going with that. Can you operate that, Jerry?
Oh, yeah.
You could
But-
you could smooth all that out and fill that kind of in and all
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, and spread out any topsoil if you decided you wanted to do that.
So maybe we could just rent the skid steer like we have in the past. Jerry could operate it, and we have our leveled.
Yep, and I get to play on a skid
Space.
steer, which I love, so.
Okay, so that would
Can we
save us
rent
money
two?
there.
I know.
Jerry and I can just work out in a
Right.
heartbeat.
Demolition. Well, that's a
Okay.
great question. So what do we have to put in place? for-
Synchronized skid steer.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, it looks like then you, and I don't know, Nick, will you be his sidekick?
I'll be excited.
Okay, would you, the two of you maybe go over there with Tanner and the plan, and probably Murph, because you, if you want to, you don't need to, maybe. But if you could go
Two
over
at a
there
time.
and look at it.
That's right.
That's right, 2 at a time. So if you could go look at it, you and Jerry, this is the plan, this is where it needs to go. And then Nick and Jerry can get the skid steer rented and go over there and,
Okay, so we're talking about kind of leveling and filling in ruts and all that. And have we determined where the soil's coming from? I mean, or is somebody going to approach?
I think the city, if that's, I think that's where the topsoil, or the, I'm gonna call about the topsoil from
Okay.
Lamb, just because it's there, it looks kind of bad. He might want to sell it, I don't know if he will or will. I'll just ask.
That'd be fairly
And then
easy
if we
to-
can get
Mhm.
the topsoil, then that's fine, we can spread it, and then we'll get some tailings from the plant out there.
Sure.
And that's after we get it leveled out, and then we'll see where we need it, then we can determine how much we need. And once we determine that, then we'll determine how much seed we need, right?
Well, we should probably, how long is it going to take to get this seed? It seems like it wants to be in sooner rather than later.
You know, I would assume it's not going to be too long on that, but as soon as you guys say pull the trigger, I will.
Well,
Does
we
it have a
have to have
shelf life?
something to put the seed in.
You know, I don't think so.
It doesn't have a shelf life, let's just get it.
Yeah, well, we probably need to kind of verify how much we're going to need.
Need.
So if we go over there and kind of pace it out or something, you know.
I'm just confused about the
Okay.
order of priority. I sort of am a step-by-step person. Does anyone have that in their mind, what the steps will be?
Well, we've got to get the
Okay.
land leveled
Yeah, good.
first,
Okay, level
So
it
skid steers
first.
first.
that's first.
Yeah.
And then we can determine how much we're gonna need for topsoil or tailings from the deal. Then we'll haul that in, put that down and spread it, and then see how much, where the pathways are gonna go and where the rock, the landscape, where that's gonna be, and then determine how much grass seed we need to put over that.
And then the fertilizer is last?
No, fertilizer, that's the
The
topsoil and the fertilizer.
The
go down.
fertilizer
Then the
goes
with
seed
the
goes on
topsoil.
top of
Right.
that.
Then we drag the seed in.
Then the seed.
Seed's
At the
last.
end.
So I got a question about the railroad ties that are put there, you know, and then the extra rails and stuff. Has anybody thought about using some of those ties as posts for signage and stuff around there, or even those, what do you call them, that Sally's working on?
Historical placards?
Yeah, and
Well, that's what they're for, so.
They are.
Whatever we need to use them for, that's what they're for.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the train isn't gonna go anywhere.
Yeah,
We
no,
don't
but
need any more
it would
track.
kind of fit
So
in.
we got it to landscape with, to tie
Sure.
into the railroad car.
Sure, and I was just thinking that those ties would be a nice tie-in to the car, and it would work. But even if we wanted to put more signage around Woodland Station, welcome to public event center or something. But anyway, what do we do with the ties in the meantime? Does anybody have any
Are they in the
ideas?
way?
Well, I don't know. If we're going to landscape and do all that stuff, maybe we need to figure out.
Oh, well, they were supposed to be behind the railroad car, kind of in that back corner.
Mhm.
But then that's where they unloaded and that's what stayed. But if you've got the skid steer rented, then you would be able to move those ties with that skid steer and move them out of the way.
Yeah, if you had forks,
Well, they have forks they put
Yeah.
on for you, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Time being of the essence.
Yes.
And we have what? How much do we have for beautification?
2,000.
Say again?
2,000.
2,000?
I thought we had 10.
Beautification? 2.
2.
We're 1,500 below budget in interest expense.
So that would cover the rental of a skid steer.
And some seed, or 412 for the seed.
And
412 for seed.
I mean, on the noted budget, we are $24,800 below budget in legal fees.
Today?
Just saying.
So that's a good
Well,
thing.
I thought as well, didn't we decide last week that we were going to talk about allocating a third for the 3 different prongs of this? So really, we have a budget of 10, don't we?
And that's the Woodland Station improvements.
Right.
I've called in the mulch expert.
I know. I saw him and I thought we needed to ask him.
Oh, Kip's here. Hi, Kip.
We want to know about the black stuff.
Black Earth, yes.
Is it socially acceptable to spread that over at Woodland Station? I mean,
Socially
would,
acceptable.
You can use it wherever you want. It meets Class A biosolids, which means it can be used anywhere.
Class A biosolids.
Okay, that's good.
That's what we refer
And
to it
you
as.
do have a lot of it.
Class A biosolids.
Yep.
So if the DDA wants to spread it in the Woodland Station, do they need to get on your calendar for a time to pick up enough that they could use for there? Or, because I know you open it up to the public too.
It's open to everybody, any city resident. Pick up between 7 and 3.
Yeah.
On
Okay.
any workday.
Just show up or call ahead or?
Right now the gate's closed, so when you pull up to the gate, you just call the number on the gate. Otherwise, if the gate's open, you pull in and you knock on the door and say, hey, load me up.
how much would be available? I mean, is there?
Whatever's there.
How much for 3 acres?
There's no shortage.
Usually you tell people you don't want, I don't want your shit.
Yeah,
Depends on how much BS is coming out of town.
yeah, I know.
There's a lot of
So
that.
how much do you think we need for 3 acres?
What are you looking to do?
Spreading it on, and doing grass seed on top, or on the bottom of it. On top.
Over 3 acres, you probably just need
Something.
just a little bit on top. I mean, you're talking half an inch to an inch. Probably, depending on what you're spreading it with, a couple truckloads for sure. I'd say 3 at least. depending on how thick
And what size is a truckload?
Whatever you show up with.
Whatever.
Which, ma'am, which size truck would you like? I have a trailer, big one,
Can I,
with racks.
Okay.
I gotta throw some stuff on it, but yeah.
okay, so, all this, we're moving forward slowly, so
Thanks,
we will
Kip.
show up. Do you want to ask about the rocks and any of the tailings? Kip is here.
Councilmember Zuluaga was asking me about the boulders and the tailings.
Which boulders and
Millings?
We heard
Really?
that there were boulders from Victor that were too big for the city, and Michael said he was going to look into.
I've heard that too. I've never been able to locate those.
So that thing, you can't find them, right?
Are there medium ones or any others? The mine had donated some quite some time ago. I think they came through Keep Woodland Park Beautiful. And then they weren't used.
I'm not aware of any big ones. We had some larger rocks, I would say anywhere from 18 inches to 2 feet in diameter that we used for plaques. for certain flower beds. Those plaques went on those, but that's all I'm aware of. I can look into it as well, but
Okay.
I know I'm pretty confident there's none at the yard. I haven't
Can't see.
crawled around on my hands and knees and checked every corner, but
Under every rock.
They're that big, that big, you shouldn't have to crawl over the rock.
What's
And
in
maybe
there
we could
today?
call-
I don't know.
Can't see the rocks through the mountains right now.
How about millings?
And the other thing was the tailings.
so we have millings from our latest road projects. It depends on how much you want and what you're willing to take. We do use those for shouldering and other sub-base improvements around town, but we do have some of those.
I think the tailings you're referring to are from Center and Saddle.
It was Park Street when Park Street was resurfaced, but that was a couple of years back now.
So you probably
We had
reused it, is
talked
what you're
about
saying.
putting the tailings across from the hardware store, right across south of the hardware store on that level area for parking and that use, which would help the city as well, if that would be, if there's enough to do that.
There is. I just don't know how much are dedicated to our crews. So I mean, see what you got, see what you can get. We got a good stockpile from those Evergreen Heights when we milled and overlaid that road. That's where most of those came from.
So would we bring it over for them and dump it, or do they need to come and get it themselves?
I do not have the authority for that. I don't have trucks, utility fund to do that.
If there were some appropriate cost that the city incurred that perhaps we could reimburse, if you found the crew and the time, had an opportunity.
It's really just hauling them out there, loading them and hauling them. It's pretty minimal. So that's really a Michael discussion with him.
Okay.
How he's going to allocate the general fund staff to do that.
Okay, that would really help if that could happen.
And
Because all those contractors seem to be backed up. Everybody's busy.
Just like our
Everybody's
staff.
busy with
Yeah.
everything.
Same with
Including
the
staff.
staff.
Like
I
the
know.
city, yeah.
I
We're
know.
going to have a three-man crew and we're trying to do asphalt. So.
Yeah.
And that material has drainage considerations. It's less pervious, right, than the gravel that's out there. So is that a Robin thing? Who would we address that with if we were able to proceed and install some millings?
So the millings, when they compact, they're pretty hard, so it's pretty, you get a lot of runoff, so you just want to take into consideration what kind of damage or erosion you would have once you put down that, I'm going to call it a hard surface, just for lack of a better word. Once you compact those, it's pretty firm, it's kind of nice. There was gravel that was put down on that south side there. I don't know if it's still there. It's probably been removed because of plowing operations and other things, but there was gravel there at one point for a hard surface for folks to park on. So I don't know if it still exists.
I noticed some piles of gravel, like right at the entrance to the property at the intersection of Center and Saddle Club. Just a rough gray gravel material. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I remember some grayish colored gravel, more of your rock, smaller aggregate type material. but-
So we could use that?
Okay.
So as far as drainage issues, to ensure that we're not creating any drainage problems, who would we work through? Is that you?
No, I would say you would work through, well, I don't know the permit process and what you need from planning to do this. Just from your contractor should know how to grade that and be able to catch whatever water needs to be caught and direct it where it needs to be directed. I think that detention pond there was built to larger than the how-to store, but that's digging back in the cobwebs. I can't remember that.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
spreading extra grass seed in that area with dirt and everything, putting down plenty of grass seed and getting it growing would also help mitigate any erosion as well. So I want to think about that.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like on that
That-
point, it might be smart to get the seeded part done before the hard surface, get all that in place, established. Do the grading kind of, or the millings, I'm sorry, as the last step.
Grading.
Might
Not
depend
the
on.
grading,
No, we have to grade, manure, seed, millings.
I prefer compost.
What's that?
Compost.
Well, we also have some llama poop coming.
Okay.
I mean, you can plant it directly in llama poop. It doesn't have to be processed like yours is. Pretty doesn't get hot, like regular manure.
Well, it
Or
sounds like
compost.
time is of the essence
All
of
right,
the
it
tailings.
is.
So,
I was gonna make a suggestion here. I'd like to make a motion that we move $3,000 from the, whatever our general funding area is.
I would say from our legal account.
Okay, $3,000 from our legal account to the beautification fund and authorize the expenditure of up to 500, or I'd love 500,000, but we'll go with $5,000. How's that? For the seeding and preparation of Woodland Station to begin to have activities over there.
So are we, with that motion, as we incur expense, you would want me to allocate it to beautification? Or are we allocating these expenditures to Woodland Station improvements?
Absolutely.
Woodland Station improvements, we have 30. And it was already
Oh.
decided to go 10, 10, 10, so we essentially have
Oh, okay. So the
determined.
monies are essentially
That's
there.
right, essentially.
So we could allocate 3,000 out of the 1/3 for.
The money's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's in all sorts of different accounts. It's a matter of how you want to allocate the expenditures.
And-
Well, which account do you want to assign them to?
And, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just was, Murph's talking about utilizing that area. If we seed that, you gotta keep off of it for a while, you know what I mean?
No.
It's gotta-
Well, that's way down. That's
Okay.
like next
I
year.
just
Okay,
needed
well,
to clarify
we
that.
have a motion on the table.
But nobody seconded it yet.
I know, but we
Yeah.
gotta get it formed.
Well, to Tanner's point, I'm wondering if we need to make that motion at all. Because right now, we have 10,000 allocation that we can utilize. And if it gets to the point where either Michael's project or the real estate project, we need to allocate more than that 10,000 share, then it would be time for, in my mind,
Okay.
for us to be able
All right.
to put that money.
So we just go ahead and
Okay.
utilize the. We already agreed that.
I agree.
You would agree with that?
I agree, but,
Yeah.
well, let's finish that, and then I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna withdraw that motion for the time being, just to
Gotcha.
get it off the table so we can discuss things.
Okay.
Okay,
Move
withdrawn.
forward.
Now we're calling on Ellen.
Are any of these plans serious enough or moving ground enough that we need to involve planning and have Sally, talk to Sally Riley about this? Or,
Kip's got comments.
Yes.
yes,
If you're grading over 7,500 square foot, you need to have a grading plan that's put in place, a ZP plan.
Can you say that louder?
75,
just my-
if you're grading more, if your plan is to do more than 7,500 square feet of grading surface, or grading a square foot area, you'll need a grading permit through planning.
Note to self, no more than 7,499 square.
Jerry?
Now, by spreading out or filling ruts and all, basically is what we're doing, and probably there's minimal grading, right?
Right.
And
Yeah, it's
putting-
mostly-
The grading's
putting-
done.
Putting grass seed down.
That's
some
repairing
topsoil.
existing
Putting
pavers.
fertilizer down.
You know, that wouldn't be considered grading.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
It's the milling.
so,
It's the milling.
yeah,
We'll get
okay.
to Mullins, okay.
So maybe we should pull out that drawing and do some measurements of what that looks like. Okay, 7,500 square feet.
Just, I guess, a note of caution, because it is Fountain Creek, the headwaters. If you're filling things and you're gonna have runoff from the site on new, I'll say, landscaped areas, just be cognizant of that, make sure that's contained and controlled.
Contained onto the property.
And there is a pond there already, so if it all filters into that pond, that works, right?
Well, it's a detention pond. You don't want, for example, you don't want the compost to go down into your
No.
detention pond. Right? I don't know what areas or what you're looking at as far as where the erosion is out there. Just be cognizant of, if you have
Okay.
a reel that's, you're putting material in and trying to get some grass growing, just make sure it stays there. Whether you need to armor it with straw wattles or
Or straw.
Okay.
I like
Straw
wattles.
wattles is what you
Okay,
call
well,
wattles.
we're gonna probably have to have some advice on some of this too, even if we can't get professionals that cost a lot of money to come in and do it, and we do a lot of this ourselves, we may have to get some advice on a couple of areas as we go through, which we've got from Kip already. We'll get more. We need to summarize some of this because we're 8:20 and we've got several more on the agenda. So, to move forward,
I
Ellen?
think someone should walk the property, maybe two of our people with Sally,
Tanner
with planning,
and-
with someone from planning, whether it's Sally or Laura, who,
Well, I think I think they need to go over there and see what's up, and then include them in on the discussions when it comes to the real drainage and troubled
especially
areas.
by Fountain Creek.
But, you know, some of that, I mean, she doesn't need to walk over there and here's a little hole. We need to put some dirt in this little hole to make it level.
I think it'd be the
That kind
buildings
of
in Fountain
thing.
Creek.
When we get to
Area.
that part, yeah, she'll have to approve some of that.
So, Mary Jo, do we want to go through with either markers or string line or something to kind of
I think we
lay
should.
some stuff out?
I think we should.
First, and then maybe
So when you
invite
go
Sally
over and
over
walk
and-
that, maybe decide what needs to be done where, whether it fits in the 75,000 feet, 7,500 feet
Square, square.
area. Try to determine how much the area we're going to have to grass, so we'll have an idea on the grass seed.
Yep, sounds good.
Does that sound good? And that be the next step? Okay, and kind of keep the three of you in the loop so that, okay.
Well, I'm happy to involve, and if we need to be in tandem and pairs, we can just tag team the pairs going over there. Because I think we should do it sooner rather than later.
Well, I
So you
think
should go
we should
first,
too, because
we go
we're
over
first
another
of
one.
June.
Yeah.
Quick legal question here. Seeing as he is not DDA, he is city council, but assigned to DDA, does your person count as a third person on it if two people from the DDA are there? It counts as a third person?
I think I'm a voting.
Are you a voting?
I'm a voting member, so
Yeah, he
it's-
counts.
I count.
You can post it too.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's as simple as, if
Post.
you all want to go over there,
Oh, that's a good point.
you just post it.
Well, let's do
You
that.
just say DDA gathering at Woodland Station to review property decision, whatever. You can post it and you can all go.
Do we have to record it?
No, you just have to post it. Just post that you're going over there.
Well, that simplifies it.
And
That
then,
does
you know, if
simplify.
public wants to come, then they can come with you.
No string.
So, but it's,
Exactly.
you know, you don't have to
Give
go
them
over
a
2
hammer.
by 2.
Okay.
Oh, let's do that.
Well, then
Okay.
let's
All right.
set up a meeting time to do that. Do you want to
And
do
then
that?
just make sure it's just properly posted and you're good.
So we have 24 hours, bottom line.
Yeah.
So do we
Okay.
want to set up a time that we all can go over there now? I don't have a calendar. Or do we
I
want
do.
to? Okay.
I can be over there at noon. Let's go.
What am I doing then?
I mean, I'm
Oh, your
closed
calendar.
today,
Oh, I
so.
got
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay, so here's the month.
Okay, so, does Tuesdays work pretty good for everybody? They
Tuesday can
seem to
work.
be able to make it to the meeting, so
Long as
it's
Tuesdays
7:30.
is a pretty good day.
As long as it's not the next 2 Tuesdays, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I won't be here next Tuesday then.
I have a
Okay, should
Yeah.
we do it like the 15th or the 22nd?
22nd, I'm good with.
How about like this week? I mean, you're just pushing it way back.
Well, he's leaving.
What, you leaving?
Not until Saturday.
See, we've got
Okay,
till
well, we
Saturday.
can
Let's
do it
make
this
it, we have to
week.
give a day's
Want
notice.
to do it this week?
So that's after Wednesday, so it's,
Yeah, the 22nd, I've got an order coming in. So.
Okay, so we're on this week, so do you want to do it Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday?
Can't be
Saturday or
Wednesday.
Sunday?
Can't be Friday. I can't be Friday. I have
so
to
it's
call.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday
Thursday?
morning. Thursday morning, 7:30.
Thursday?
7:30,
Thursday?
or do you want to do 7?
Can we do Thursday?
In the morning?
Thursday.
That makes
You're here
twice-
now.
that makes twice this
I
week.
did, I was late.
Jerry will be stressing about whether I'm going to show up.
Okay. So that's day after
Thursday, 8
tomorrow.
o'clock.
Is
Day
that
after tomorrow.
good? Does that work for you, Tanner?
Thursday, 8 a.m.
I think so.
What do you mean 8 a.m.?
I'll give you time to get
I
there.
can bring you coffee. if that's
Eight's
a lot.
good, right?
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
then
it
let
shouldn't
me
take us
ask.
that long.
An hour?
Members
Yeah.
of
We
the
need to
library,
get
remember,
this-
we have a meeting on Thursday mornings
No,
too.
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday mornings,
Yeah, so
okay.
we're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Thursday morning, 8 o'clock,
8 o'clock, what happened to 7:30?
we'll post it.
Would you quit it?
Okay,
Look at the
this will be, all right.
Part. Trying to
Woodland
keep everyone in
Station,
line.
8 o'clock, Thursday morning. And if we can bring, I don't know, stakes,
Yes, string?
twine,
I got some
strings,
string.
plastic, rolls of tape, whatever.
And I've
Whatever
got a
we
big
can
tape.
bring, if we need
Yeah,
to
I
go buy some, let me know. And we'll try to walk it and stake it out and bring the plans that we are, so that we can look at them.
Could we print out like enough copies? that-
Mhm.
And let's try to get some feel for what's gonna have to be done, and what we can do, and what we're gonna have to hire done, and what we're gonna have permitted. Let's try to get an idea of all those things,
So,
okay?
so the one of the takeaways from that meeting is going to be that we're going to then follow that up with the meeting with Sally with Flower Lure. Is that kind I mean, if we can get this stuff
That's what
done
we
this
said.
month
That's what
rather
we
than
said.
pushing it off
That's
weeks
what we
to
said.
weeks.
Why don't we invite them
That's
to
just what I said.
why don't we invite them to our shindig over there as we're moving forward?
I'm for afterwards.
I think
I'm
after
for
we should
afterwards,
set our.
because we should have our talks first.
They can come.
And then,
Okay.
but
if they
yeah,
want to, fine, but if,
That's,
All right.
we need to know what we're asking for and what we need.
And Tanner, you'll post it?
Mhm.
And just as a reminder, if you're going to be making any decisions that day, please make sure those are listed as part of your meeting.
oh, that's a
Okay.
good point. Maybe, yeah, that's good.
Okay. Well, we would probably come to our regular July meeting and formally, unless we have to make some decisions on, that would require us something sooner, but we'll do that when we record it.
Well, then,
All right.
do we need to
Wait.
make a motion now, Mary Jo, that, that the necessary equipment rental, seed purchase, whatever else occurs as a result of that? Or is that already in the budget, we just go ahead with
We've
that?
already budgeted, right? That's what
It's
we're talking
budgeted, so
about.
now it's just-
We done.
If
We
you
just
want to
do
do
it.
it formal, I take that as a motion. Do I hear a second?
What's it?
I'm going to be doing the minutes, and fewer motions is better. Just
Okay.
saying. I think we're good. Well, we've already allocated it. Everybody knows what we're doing. The plan's been on our website forever. We've been to council and presented what we're doing.
Understood.
I mean, we're going
done.
forward.
We're
So
just moving forward.
Mary Jo's
All
calling a
right.
special meeting day after tomorrow, 8 a.m. at the property. I'm going to get it posted. That's
Okay, so we move forward.
You're right.
Yes,
We
let's
have
just
to wait
move
till,
forward.
I'm just
Okay.
wanting
Keep
to
moving.
make sure we're not done.
Okay. All right, if there's no more, we'll see you Thursday morning on that meeting. We're going to move to the next one, update on the negotiating committee.
Mike Williams is still dealing with his son. I don't have anything new.
nothing since the last meeting.
Okay.
Can I have my phone back? I'll give you a report from this.
Um,
Can I give you his report?
Yeah.
So this is reports from Mike's son as of this morning.
Oh, wow.
Kip, thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Thank you.
That answered some
Hey, good luck finding
questions.
bodies, man. I know how you feel. Except for I don't have 7,000 people breathing down my neck.
Okay. Nathan's settings on the ventilator have been reduced because of progress. He's been on it for 4 weeks now. His oxygen saturation is strong and his vitals are all stable.
Good.
That's
Oh, yes.
huge.
Yes.
That's
Awesome.
huge.
Wow.
Okay.
4
So,
weeks on the ventilator.
Ah,
We'll
man.
look for maybe something from him in July. Maybe he'll be back on track. Okay, nothing more on negotiating committee. Tanner, you got anything? If not, I'll
No.
move to, and Al is not here, so we'll just pass the marketing. Ellen, do you have any kind of update talking with him? Have you talked to any
I
of
have
those
not talked
surrounding
with Al.
property owners or anything? Okay. Nothing, we'll just wait for his report then. Board discussion on development proposals. We really have nothing. Is there
I really want to throw something out here.
Okay.
On that one, just real quick. All right, so as we're moving forward, we're going to try and make the place prettier. That still does not guarantee that we will proceed or have any rapid developments over there, all right? So I did call Lori Gloth last week, and I'm waiting on a call back from her to get because I would like to get Main Street involved in this. I think it's a highly, really great thing. I'll bring it up at the next meeting with them. However, I think moving forward now to plan for a flea market over there next summer, and we utilize the Colorado Springs model where we basically fence the property, we charge admission, we bring in vendors, we charge for spaces, and all those monies be deposited to the DDA account as in a fenced fund for the public improvements that have to be made. Okay, had we done this 20 years ago, we'd be a lot closer, but now, if we move forward and we start doing something over there to create monies that are going to help with the public improvements, whether it be the highways, the sewer, the electric, whatever, to help developers get into it. But we need to start planning
Do we
now
have
if we're
to
going to do it
fence
a
it?
year out. Say again?
Do we have to fence it?
Well, it would
It would be that orange fencing.
It would be
that-
orange
the
fencing,
orange,
yeah,
orange
that we
fence,
could put up and
orange.
take down.
Okay.
But if we ran it every Friday, if we ran it every Saturday and Sunday next year, and we charged booth fees and admission, and we did some entertainment, we did the other things that need to be done, we could begin to slowly bring in those public infrastructure improvements that are needed to try, or to create an account that will help defray the cost for the developer. Otherwise, we're just sitting here spinning our wheels, and I'm one of those people. I'm finally tired of kind of sitting here for 6 years or so and doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results is not yielding any results. And we've started taking a new track, so let's take a new track. I hate getting government or pseudo government entities into business, but the fact is, we've got to do something. So I would be more than happy to take that ball and run with it and begin exploring and laying out and doing all the necessary things to figure out exactly how this would work and bring it back to the board.
Robert?
Well, my first out the gate comment to that is I think it's a great idea. However, I don't think it is inclusive of what's in it for me for Main Street. People Are Beautiful would be another group. I mean, I like it. I think it should be a pivot point, though, of where it's inclusive and gets the entire community excited about the project, and they have a stake in it that makes it valuable for them.
Okay, so any entity out there that wants to
Some of the
come and see me?
Proceeds wise,
Proceeds should be shared perhaps if other entities.
Well, I
are
mean, if
involved.
Woodland Park Beautiful wants to come over and do the cleanup, Main Street wants to do help with, collecting things right there, that's, I think it's a great idea. Absolutely. They could, we could help out those entities with funding as well. I mean, I think that would fetch far more monies into the thing. But of course, I would expect some.
I think it's a good
Oh,
idea.
well.
I think it's a good idea to put some positive energies over there, and that may help in any of the 3 development projects. Go ahead, Tanner.
I support where you're going with it. I have a couple of thoughts to
Okay.
consider. One, first thing that comes to mind is if the taxpayers are already funding the improvements, how appropriate is it to then charge them for use of the property? I think we want to just weigh that a little bit and not necessarily try and charge market rates or so for use of the property if it's already publicly owned and already publicly funded. Just something to think about. Second is, it seems to me like a great plan. Right now, we've struggled even to put grass seed down. We struggled even to get materials or boulders. I see that down the road a bit. Once, if we're successful getting through this next phase or 2 with the property, then we have a viable venue that, that becomes a viable consideration, is how much do we charge for it, what's the schedule for using it, etc. And then Third, there was a third thought. There was a fleeting third thought.
Maybe because you need a
Man needs
manager.
coffee.
You
Well,
probably
yeah.
will need a paid manager, just like, it's similar to a farmer's market. Someone who is overall in charge and running it, making it happen.
It just,
Well, this is not about, it gives the taxpayer somewhere to go, something to do, but providing entertainment, all those cool things, okay? And that money will go to alleviate future burdens on the taxpayer as well, okay? To help putting that, we've got to do something to start generating revenues to put in infrastructure, because we're sitting here and everybody's looking at the infrastructure costs going,
Well, and I think that's why we're
Million years.
pushing the grass and
But yes.
the
Well,
tables
exactly.
and all that. Once that's down, I think that a lot of that will just automatically fall into place. I think we can get some music venues and that.
It's
and
not
as
going to
it
automatically fall in
grows.
place, Mary Jo. It's going to take a
But
lot
I
of effort
think
and.
people are going to step forward and say, I want to use this to do this event. I want to use this to do that. I think what you're doing, if you want to put that together, it's a good idea. I'm not sure we can pull it off this year.
No. This is for, I'm,
For the future,
one of these things takes
I
a
think
year to
it's
put together, okay?
Good idea.
Every year, I mean, and every day we delay is another day that we wind up with no revenues. I mean, we do have our revenue streams from things like tips and stuff, but this would allow, this would be like, a region-wide sort of thing. If a flea market person wants to come up here and sell whatever flea market items they're selling, military surplus or produce or anything over the weekend. I mean, the farmer's market, the number one complaint I've heard about the farmer's market, I have to work on Fridays. It's only for old people.
All right. Well,
So, last week, I met the lady who brought the proposal to you, I think, Tanner, about the group who come in and organize these events. They'll utilize this
yes,
space.
the music and all of
Do you
that,
remember
yes.
what her name is?
I think it starts with a T.
Okay. The lady whose name
But you
starts
met
with
her.
a D.
Terry?
I met her. So it just reminded me, is all I'm trying to say about that.
Baldwin,
Well, go ahead.
So anyway, I'm just saying that to say that in conjunction with what you're saying, once we get this stuff done, we've got people who want to, and will pay for, developing events for that land. Now, whether that's just a one-off thing, they get the revenues, that's the downside of it. With her group, they get the revenues, but when you look at the fact that we've got Veterans Parade coming now, that may become something that's annual if it goes well enough here. And we start looking at getting signature events coming to Woodland Park, and that becomes a footprint that some of that can get driven to. Is that in itself going to create outside investors coming and looking at the space and going,
Okay.
so
My-
as opposed to us thinking we have to be generating all that
My thoughts
infrastructure.
My thoughts of private citizens profiteering off the taxpayer isn't exactly go there. I would rather see the taxpayer profiteering off of the vendors and stuff like that. So if there were a setup where the vendor or the promoter or whoever were sharing these revenues with the DDA, so that we can ultimately get that, the whole idea is for us to ultimately have the monies to help with the public infrastructures that are going to belong to the taxpayers at the end of the day. So,
I think back to get to, Jerry, go ahead.
Well, for me, and my approach is a little different than a lot of yours, but I think we need to tread lightly before we go into competition with existing. You may not like the way the farmers market's working right now or whatever, but I don't think that as a public organization we should be supporting the existing businesses, not competing against them or giving them unfair competition, somebody else to compete against. I don't know. It's just a train of thought. It's just a concern of mine, because when I came on board here, that was a concern of mine, was that we actually supported the existing businesses rather than just the future businesses. And so it's just something we have to consider.
Well, and that's one of the things. This would not compete with the farmer's market because it would be Saturday and Sunday. Farmer's market's always on Friday. It would also give people something to do. The other piece is people come from all over the place for that flea market down there in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've walked through there. They're not selling furniture and stuff like that. They're not. Yes, there's food vendors. Yes, there's some entertainment. Okay, however, it's mostly people selling flea market stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and any person here in town would be more than welcome to come and set up in that area as well. And I would look at cutting them some slack.
Well, here's another take on it too. And you're well aware of my feelings about catering trucks and stuff like that, where you take a business that can injure the brick and mortars, okay, that by taking away, and I don't think that we should be promoting that, or I think our job is to make sure that the business climate is as healthy as we can, and I don't honestly think that once you start going down the path where it becomes less of a vibrant downtown brick and mortars, then I don't think it's healthy.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
rather.
all right. Here's and I just want to go down this thought process. All right, it's really hot in the springs during the summer. All right, Jerry, would you rather have 100% of this or 10% of the springs?
Yeah, I know, and
I'd rather have 10% of springs.
And I'm not
personally.
arguing. I'm just bringing up my thoughts in my
Yep.
head.
Well,
That
we're running out of time again.
Okay.
I would say, my personal opinion, if Murph wants to put some meat on this and lay out an outline, I would look at this as a project that he wants to do. And can the DDA support that? We'll see. I would personally say, if Murph wants to put this together, go ahead and present it to us. Probably it won't happen this year. You're okay with that? We can add these things as we go. We can.
Yep.
I'm looking at how do
Vet
we
it.
bring in more revenues,
We can
and I'm
vet
more
it.
than willing to take suggestions and guidance. But I really want to. If we just continue to do the same thing over and over, we're going to get the same results.
Yep.
So, Tanner?
As a reminder, that plan approved in 2016, which is the one we're operating
Yes.
on as our Part 3 of Woodland Station Management, does include a rudimentary pro forma fee schedule for fees for various types of events, showing some revenues and some expenditures to maintain the property. So what I hear Murph saying is, stay with the plan. Should the venue come online, should it be successful enough that supply and demand yield some sort of price for it, then there are revenues. And the question then is, what are we doing with the revenues? And the proposal is, well, let's restrict those so that they're funding an account for improvements of the property when it's developed. So and as one board member, I have no problem with that at all. I think it's a great idea. I just think it's down the road a bit. If we can get to that point and the venue has some demand for it, then we have a viable proposal.
Right.
We're
So
getting
do
in
I
for
get
that.
a consensus? Do we need a motion?
Well, basically, all I'm doing is trying to bring the
I have-
plan to fruition.
I think a
Seems to be-
consensus is all we need to let Murph move forward. There's really nothing to vote on yet, just a consensus that he move forward on this idea and for future. So, good? Okay.
Moving.
We're done with liaison reports, right? That was you. Okay. General discussion. Ellen?
Am I a liaison?
I'd like to bring
Oh,
up.
you are.
Go ahead.
You are.
No, liaison.
I'm sorry, you go ahead. Liaison report, that's
Yeah,
you.
chopped liver, yeah, go ahead.
Good job. City council shop
Yeah.
liver.
I was only kidding. I don't think.
Open your mouth and see what happens.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know, is there anything that came up at city council that you guys feel we need to talk about? I think your presentation was very, very well. I think it was well received. And I think you've set pieces in place very well with the city on multiple grounds in terms of not just the council people, but also the staff. I think it's very clear, you sent a very clear signal that, yeah.
So on that note, as our council liaison, do you believe the council is adequately informed of our intentions to move forward, and that our discussion today is consistent with what they've been told, and that expending funds, that they understand that that's likely to occur?
I think so, and I think that the thing you want to watch for is when Mayor Pro Tem LaBarre looked at the question that was posed about what if you end up spending $10,000 on beautification or staging it, whatever else, and then you find that, and you might have spent another $5 over on what Al is working on, and then Mike and his team decide, yeah, we're ready for it, we want you to pitch in for X amount on something, that where are we at with the funds on that? And I think that did give council an idea that you might come back if all that was to happen this year, you might come back and go, oh, we're going to need X amount of dollars to be able to now move forward with part 2. So I think you set that up, and I think you set that stage for if you need further to allocate further funding, that you laid out how you would do that. So.
Then we have an additional $28,000 in overages that we could possibly transfer should the occasion arise.
So you're saying on top of that you may not even have to come back to council if you've got an additional.
It's pretty unlikely.
Okay, so I think you did. I think you did very well, and I think that the tone has significantly improved. In my opinion, it has. But then
That's good to hear.
But I have eyes for the DDA, so. But I did. Yeah, I thought you presented well.
Okay. General discussion. Ellen?
Just wanted to announce July 4th at Memorial Park is on track, and seems to, Gail Gross is running that. It seems like it's really going to be quite the celebration, as well as July 5th, Symphony Above the Clouds at the Woodland Park Middle School, 5 o'clock gates open. We're having local entertainment this year, but with a professional stage, sound, and lighting. It'll be Carrie Dell to start off rock and roll, then Swing Factory with jazz, and Philharmonic, then the Wind Symphony. They are going to play the Overture of 1812, but without strings. We have Fort Carson cannons signed up, hopefully fireworks.
Good.
And first, I guess, if we get fireworks, and then if it's not too dry, right now it's kind of wet, hopefully we don't have storms, but anyway, and we will look at Carrie's playlist to make sure it's appropriate.
Hopefully.
Good.
Yes.
Rock and roll. Thank you.
Rock and roll.
Good.
Maybe no highway to hell.
Not if you're doing a symphony above the clouds. That's just like really twisted.
So we'll make sure that.
We're already in the
Good, Ellen.
handbasket.
I think
come on.
that's great. I think that's great you're using local entertainment.
Okay.
I do too.
Yeah, I think that's great. Nick?
That's going to be a hell of a weekend.
Were you done, Ellen?
Yes, I am done. Thank you.
Nick?
Not much.
Okay.
Just looking forward to getting out there with Jerry.
Synchronized skid steer.
If we were at two of them
Right.
together, you could
Yeah, we can-
demolition derby.
So
Okay.
I have a question for you though on that. Can you get one of those Scarifier things in the back of the skid loader?
I don't know if you can.
I mean, you can always drag it if you have teeth. You could use that
Should be
as
able to.
a scarce fire, you know. But If we're gonna put top over it, if you, I would check with people. It's been a million years since I was a landscaper, but I think putting the seed down and then covering it might be a good way, and then you wouldn't have to rake it in, so to speak.
That would be nice.
You know, so, but I would definitely check on that.
Well, and the fact that it's just hard gravel that seed would be laying on, there isn't much to root in to it. That's
We
the
put
bad
black dirt
part.
down. We put extra black dirt down on those areas.
Okay.
So I
Go ahead.
forgot to mention, there is something that's coming up that's kind of significant in Woodland Park, and that is the Veterans Parade. And that's so what the DDA wants to look at as far as that. I'm just going to seed it as an idea. Is there any way that we want to be involved in that, or show support for that, or create a space for anything that they're doing? Because we're going to have probably 20,000 people in town on that weekend.
I would think maybe a
Did you get your
campsite would be
earplugs
good,
yet?
bring in porta potties and have a campsite. I don't know what else we would do.
Is that the rally or a parade?
The rally's coming here, so not
It's
only
gonna
the
happen
not
Friday
only
and
the
Saturday.
staging that normally happens at the high school and goes up to Cripple Creek.
Right.
Cripple Creek will not be hosting the actual event this year. We will be. So they're going to go up, they're going to come back, and they're going to end up at Memorial Park. And that's where the
So it's the rally. It's not,
That's-
right, okay.
Yeah, you called it a parade.
Oh,
Right, yeah, I thought maybe there was a different event.
Well, the event is happening. So when they
Right.
do they do the presentations and they do the speeches and all that stuff, that's in Woodland Park this year.
Okay.
And that's,
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, you understand?
Yeah, but so it's the Veterans Rally.
Yeah.
It's leaving Woodland Park like always, but it's coming back instead of ending in Cripple Creek.
Correct. And it's on the Friday. It's also having their T-shirt giveaway stuff and all that stuff.
Okay, so I don't know, can you think of anything else that we could do to contribute to that rally?
Well, everyone always wants money. We
Yeah.
do have, so if there's any way to support, I think we're postured well to show support. We do have land downtown if that's valuable for anything.
Murph?
We should strongly consider getting some, opening the DDA property up to camping for that rally, and bring in some porta potties and maybe a water buffalo or something like that, so that people can get water, but allowing them a place to stay here. That way they can enjoy themselves in town a little bit more. Possibly have a couple of beers at any one of the vendors around here, and then go across the street and go to sleep.
Is that
Unless, of
another
course, they're out
place
there.
for a permit?
They're up there.
Yeah. So two things with that. One is, and I can certainly bring that back to
Yes,
Jim.
sir.
That the comment that I've had is from Councilmember Case is that these bikers are not, at the age they are, not likely to want to be sleeping on the ground. So,
Yeah.
so as much as that, they're probably going to be at the Microtel and Country Lodge.
Well, I did talk
and
to Mark about it. He
Airbnbs
said
as opposed to that. But it's not to say we shouldn't offer it.
Yeah, Mark Rabeau said he's pretty full on that weekend.
Full of what? Alcohol?
No, old
Sorry.
bikers that need soft beds.
Oh, yeah, whole bikers do soft beds.
Back to the old age-old joke.
Yeah.
Nick,
Well, some of those old bikers bring their RVs.
that's
And
what
they
I was
tow
gonna
them,
say.
Oh, and they tow the.
They tow, and then
And then ride when they
offering,
get here.
offering that as some sort of, not just tent camping or whatever, but
Uh-huh.
RV parking too without the services, you know.
You bet.
But yeah, a lot of those guys, I mean, that may attract more if you put something out that, hey, bring your RV and your bike up, you can ride your bike and stay in your nice comfy RV.
To provide RV location, would we need to provide power or any
No.
other?
Well, They should be
They'd
self-contained.
self-contained. You know, and that would be the thing, saying that we did not have the power.
That would have to go before council, right?
Yes, we'd have to go before council, we'd have to get a permit.
And can it go on that land? Is that land stable enough?
And
to
if
take
we
that
seed,
parking?
if
Okay.
we're doing all our
We're doing our seeding.
site prep and everything, well, that,
Some of that'll help for sure,
well,
absolutely.
but I mean, as far as new grass seed down and stuff like that? Do you want RVs?
No, they could park down on the lower end though, where we're not gonna seed.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
suppose-
limited, we can mark out,
Limited
we can
space.
mark out areas
Just
for,
observations.
specifically for RV parking.
Well, it sounds like if you'd like, I can take this to Jim and say, hey, the DDA has said that you're welcome to have folks down there, but it would still require permitting with Sally. It would still require,
Yeah.
those sort of pieces would still have to be.
Sorry, permitting with the city?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so if you want me to approach him and say, hey, the DDA wants you to know you have their support, and there's that land there, I can do that, but he still has to go through, and they will still have to go through the necessary permitting through the city for making that and part of the event, if you like, or part of it, I guess what would be a
So
combination
do
of
we
that.
have a consensus that we want this to happen? Is it okay? Is it okay with you?
That's layering the bureaucracy up there. I don't think we should worry about us permitting and then him permitting and then
No.
them permitting. It's one permit. Jim, RVs can park down there. End of story. That's the permit.
It's no,
And people can,
Maybe
Suzanne, go ahead.
Suzanne can make a
it's no
comment.
different than when we do the permitting for the Rock and Gem Show, and we allow the overnight camping there for all the vendors. So it's a simple process, it's just applying through planning, just to get a temporary use permit, council approves it, it's overnight camping, it's very simple.
It's the same thing we did for our rodeo, when we got the
Correct.
cameras for
Exactly.
our
Okay.
rodeo. So it's nothing to it.
Does that allow for alcohol sales and consumption on the property, or is that a separate
That's a
permit?
whole.
Well, I know the person who approves those.
I don't.
We could get a start on that fund.
They can have
No,
their-
excuse me.
They can have their own alcohol, I mean, if you're camping, you can have, sit around the campfire. and
Well, they
have-
will, even if you said no anyway.
Yeah, it's.
So-
I
don't-
You're not gonna sell it on the property,
No.
I
that's
don't
when you need
foresee
a
any
license.
of that happening.
to
They're
sell.
old bikers, but.
No.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that.
The only thing I'm doing
So
is,
do we let him say, go talk to Jim and?
yes, let's talk to Jim.
Okay, and is that okay? They can use that for camper parking, for parking and or campers, yes. And then they
Just
will
put in
have
the
to put
permit.
the porta potties in.
And it's,
They'll have to do that.
So for parking, that's not a permitting issue, is it?
What do you mean by
If they
that?
park down there, if they use that DDA, if they come and they park their bike there or whatever, come to town, do
Yeah,
whatever.
they can park, yeah, it's
That's
the
no
overnight
overnight.
camping.
It's the overnight camping's the only permit. okay.
Correct, because we have a code that doesn't allow for overnight camping, so we just have to get permission for it.
Okay.
Do you know offhand if porta potties require any sort of permit? If we were to put any porta
Did we
potties?
do porta potties, Mary Jo, for your event? with-
Yes, yes. And all they asked is, is there gonna be water, is there gonna be porta potties, and where will they be located? They're concerned about the location so that if there's a fire or emergency, they can get through and they can work around those. But it wasn't required, that was only our
I think we should go
requirement,
with,
but there needs to be some down there.
we should go with some porta potties and some water down there, just so people could tent camp if they wanted to.
Yeah, but that's Jim's deal.
Yes.
That would be his deal, right? So there's another thing that they have these shower blocks, you bring in a trailer and it's got temporary shower things.
No, they don't
Unless,
do that.
not unless the promoter wants to do that. Well, tell him you can do that.
He can do that if he wants
Yeah, if
to.
he
But
wants
that's
to.
something that they do, right? I know that they do it at children's camps, and they also do it for the homeless.
All we're
They
doing
draw
is
it, they
really
bring in this
donating
trailer
the
and
use
it's
of
got
the
already.
land.
We're putting the use of land out there.
Everything else.
Huh?
We'll put the use of the land out there and overnight camping authorized.
And he can do whatever he wants.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, whatever he wants, they can.
Okay? All
All
right,
right, big
then we're moving
amenities.
on there.
I get that.
Anything else in general discussion?
Yes.
Worth?
General discussion.
We got ready to close it down.
Yeah,
Um,
he got a new coffee machine.
oh, yeah. So, the Historic Udin's coffee shop, named after my puppies, is coming along. I received the coffee yesterday. Again,
Tiffany and Bullets is gonna be coffee and ammo and breakfast, and I'm thinking that the ammo's gonna be far more of a attraction. So, and I've done all the research. There is no special licensing requirements. There is no liability per Colorado law for ammo sales. Okay, as long as I'm not importing the ammo and as long as I'm not manufacturing the ammo, we're clear.
So you're not getting it from China?
No, it's coming from Korea, as a matter of fact. Somebody else is taking care of the import shit. I'm just retailing it. Hey, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Excuse me.
So your ammo and coffee
Coffee, ammo, and breakfast.
Isn't that
And
gonna water
breakfast,
Yeah,
down?
okay.
well, it'll be lunch items also.
and lunch too?
Get
And so
those
your
jitters
hours
when
will
you're
be
shooting.
from when to when?
So the dining room will be open from 8 to 1, or 6 to 1, and then and the bar or the tavern will have its usual hours, same food, everything else. I'm doing a totally different. I'm just doing breakfast stuff and lunch stuff
Okay.
with a little bit of different, like paninis for lunch. We got that crowd coming in, so I figured I gotta learn what the hell a panini is and make one.
And when does that start, or has it started?
Looking at 2nd of July. No guarantees that the ammo will be here. California's still sitting there on not letting boats dock, so they're about running about 25% capacity. Oh, yes, general discussion. Prop 16 at the state level. I'm sorry. If Prop 16 passes, you will not be able to allow that there will be no spaying or neutering of animals, dogs, cats. You will not be allowed to spay them. Beef will have to be exported from Colorado to another state to be slaughtered because the timeline that they're recommending, an animal has to live out.
For a minute.
It has to live out most of its useful life. Okay, and if anybody's ever tried to eat a 5 or 6 year old cow, you're chewing on it for a while. Okay. I mean, they are going overboard with this. You will not be able to slaughter chickens until they've lived like 2/3 of their life. A cow until it's lived 2/3 of its life. It will devastate our agricultural industry. Our prices will go. You think they're stupid now? When we have to export all of our beef to be slaughtered and then re-import it to make it usable meats, it will be stupid. It's called Prop 16. I highly recommend that we oppose this adamantly, because when we start getting overrun with dogs and cats, are we going to charge the federal guys with animal cruelty for shooting that overage of dogs and cats out in the national forest when they're chasing deer or elk trying to get something to eat? Seriously, I mean, it's part of the implications.
Is this going to be voted on by the people, or is this coming through legislation?
It's well, they're talking. If it's a proposition, it has to go before. I think it has to go before the state or it has to go before the people. So it'll be something that'll be out there. However, if it goes before the people, we understand how that works. It doesn't matter who votes; it matters who counts the votes. Just like this last time. So
Okay.
it will devastate our restaurant industry. It will devastate our grocery stores. And what's our number one export from the state of Colorado? Beef.
Beef.
It's what's for dinner.
Okay. I have nothing. Tanner, general discussion, you have something?
June 30th, 3 board terms expire.
They are.
Al Born, Nick Pinnell. He just laughs.
Ellen, you're still here, right?
I
You can't get away from
can't
it.
quit. This is terrible.
So it's Al, Nick, and myself.
And mine expired last June,
Yeah, right.
June 30th.
Okay.
Last year,
Well, we'll deal with it as it comes, I guess. We'll have to, I'm sure, advertise those positions at the time,
So, June 30th, it's not that far away. Do you want me to start advertising again for those positions? I think it's been ongoing.
And for mine too.
I know, Ellen. You did yours first. Do you want me to?
Oh,
Jan is here until hers expires, even though we checked that through Pump and Daddy.
Hers is next June.
Hers is next year, but she can serve
Yeah,
even though she's not, okay.
Yeah, until her term runs
Till-
out. She can't rerun them.
Do you want me
Okay.
to actively start recruiting for that?
Yes, I think
Please.
so. Please do.
So, let's see, Jerry and Murph were both reappointed, right?
Yes.
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 And Ellen has been trying to resign
Mhm.
for a year now,
Mhm.
almost. Well, about a year. So that's 1 plus 3 more. So we have a total of 4 positions.
Okay.
Now, let's see, 2 of them must own property. And then when Jan's is up, hers will have to be a property owner. So there will be that additional limitation on 3 of those 4 positions.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Jerry, oh, I'm sorry, Tanner, do you have anything else? No? Okay. Jerry, do you have anything for general discussion?
Me?
Okay. I want some sunshine. Ice on my windshield this morning. Ice.
Just one quick
Yes.
alibi. Guys, let's go out and talk to business owners and try and find some people who want to be, want to be part of the DDA. Let's do it personally. Let's go talk to them. Find business owners and property owners that want to come in. I'm gonna go twist Mark Rabo's ear. See if I can get him drugged down here.
Okay.
Rebecca Rettle, owner of Joni's, has interest.
Okay, awesome.
Very good.
Let's get some. Let's try and get some fresh blood in here. We need
Mhm.
new trainees.
And
Tanner's gonna be
not
sitting here
one
all by
that's
himself.
trying to run away.
Tanner's basically gonna be sitting here all by himself.
Yeah. You know, the problem with
Poor
new
man, boy.
retainees is
I don't think I'll be
with so much
reappointed.
history, we know so much of how it works. The hardest part of DDA is understanding the TIF and understanding what we can do and what we can't do and what that is. So, too many new people will create a problem. And I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying that has to be something that if we do that, we're going to have some schooling for those folks. Because Nick had a hard time
Yeah, I did.
figuring it
Yeah.
out, and
There was a serious
I
learning
still-
curve.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, can I just,
you're still having a hard time with it.
thank you.
I mean, it's tough. Figure it out. Sorry.
So I guess my question is, to 3 seats that are coming available, do you have interest in staying or do you have interest in alighting the bus? How do you want to stay or go? Your term's coming due. Do you have?
No,
No,
it's
it's Nick,
Al.
Nick and
Nick,
Al.
Allen, yeah.
Al and Tanner.
Yeah.
And me.
Or do we want to just?
Oh,
pick that
Nick,
up
Al, and
another-
Tanner.
Yeah, do you want
Do
to
you
hang
wanna
around
stay?
or are you done?
Some days, yes.
When you get to drive
If
the
you want to-
tractor.
I get to play, I get to go out and play. I like to stay, but no, I would like to stay.
That's helpful.
All right.
Yeah. How about you, Tanner?
I would like to stay.
Still?
Treasurers don't get to leave.
No, I know. Well, at
Yeah,
this point, we kind of need Tanner to stay because he's the one that has the finances at the county level with the tax people up there. He understands that and how all that works and how our payments work. and-
Well, if I'm not back on the board, you could always hire me as
Yeah, I
an
know.
administrative assistant.
We'll have to.
Only 10 hours a week, though.
Yeah.
And do we know what Al's sentiment is about?
I'm sorry.
Do we know Al's sentiment? I guess we can ask him.
I'm sure he'll want to stay, and I don't
he'll
Oh, we
want to
still need
stay.
to- we
I'm
still
sure
have
he'll
to-
want stay.
I think he will.
We still have to advertise, so.
Yeah.
No, okay, but I was just wanting to get a sense if we were.
Okay,
Very good.
it's 9:09. Do we have any more general discussion?
Over there.
Audience participation. Suzanne?
Yes, just a couple of quick things. The first and foremost, I want to remind the DDA that the late Mayor Carr's memorial service, his public memorial service, is this Sunday, high noon, at the
Sunday.
Memorial Park Pavilion. His whole family will be there, grandchildren, everybody's coming in for that event. We'll do a quick 45-minute public service memorial, police escort to the cemetery for a private burial, and then they have a celebration of life following that some of you may have been invited to. Something, remind me later. The other thing is this upcoming council meeting, just to give you a preview of a couple of things, we'll have the county commissioners here with us this council meeting. They've been wanting to come in person to introduce themselves, say hi. It's their first time coming before council since they've been elected. They've wanted to come, but because of COVID, it couldn't be in person, so we'll have all the county commissioners here. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. We should be appointing our city manager this coming council meeting. He's still in some negotiations with contract, but council has given me the direction to put it on the agenda and be prepared to administer him his oath of office. So that would be an exciting thing to see this Thursday. We'll also be talking about on this Thursday's agenda, council liaisons. Council has asked me to bring back to them all of the council liaison positions now that we have a new council member, to see if they want to move around, where Councilmember Alfieri can fit into the mix, and that will be another topic of discussion. So that's what's coming up for council, Mayor Carr's ceremony. And then I wanted to just quickly talk, I'm glad Rob's here because I know that you guys have asked to be on the city website with the DDA link, just like the council meetings, and Rob's going to be working on that for us. And I don't know if you have any questions for Rob about what that's going to look like.
Great, Rob, we're glad that you're doing that.
Well, he's going to help you with it, but somebody on your end
Well,
has
hopefully
to
that who we
maintain it.
hire will be able to do that.
So if you look on the website, it'll look just like everybody else's. Like I run Keep Wheeler Park Beautiful, so you click on that and you can see their agendas and all that. The way it looks on our website right now, when you click on DDA, it just takes people to your website. So once we get it set up, you guys will be able to send us your agendas, and we can post those on the website, post your meetings on the calendar. That will publish it out to everybody. And then your minutes can also go in there, all that stuff. And you can still keep it on your website as well, but you know, it's just kind of a one-stop shop for everybody looking for any of the different boards in the city. They can see it all in one place.
It's fantastic.
I had an
Awesome.
inquiry, one of the main reasons I'm here today is I had an inquiry over the weekend, actually 2 inquiries from the public. One to say to me that they believed you weren't having, again, a legal meeting, and I said yes, because I had gotten the notification from Murph that it was posted in the 3 public places. So I quoted to them the 3 public places that it was posted, and another one questioning the executive session. That I guess you had an executive session on the agenda that's not occurring? Or
It's
there was-
marked as if needed and
Okay, so I assured those individuals everything was on the up and up, but with doing this will really help with the transparency, so it won't come into question any longer.
Or
They don't,
Yeah.
if they post on the city website, they don't have to. It's only when they have nowhere to post it, they have to go to the 3 places.
Suzanne, I just would like to make a comment. You know, we've had our ups and downs with city, and all that. From my perspective, I'm very appreciative of your willingness to include us and help us the way you are. So thank
Well,
you.
like we said last time, you're one of our boards and commissions, so you should be up there with the other ones. So it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we do appreciate that.
So are you going to then, Rob, post the meeting, the going down on Thursday morning?
He wasn't here for that part.
Oh, he wasn't here for that, okay. And so how are we going to post that then?
I'm going to draft an agenda, send it to Mary Jo for her approval, and if she approves it, then I guess I would send it over to Rob.
Yeah, send it to me for now until we figure out who is going to be posting for you guys, but I can do it in the meantime.
And do I understand we don't need to physically post in 3 public locations if it's being posted on the city website?
That's correct.
Interesting.
So the official posting for notifications is now, we pass a resolution every year. We passed it this year in January, it's the city website. When we don't have that opportunity, or if it's a last minute special meeting, I always do the 3 places. But typically our council meetings, they're just on the city website. They don't go in the 3 places. But all of a sudden, if council calls an emergency meeting or a special meeting, I'll do the city website and the 3 places. So you guys are covered as long as you're doing the 3 places. But once you come on the city website and post them on there, you would no longer have to do the 3 public, the police department, cultural center, and the city hall building.
Okay. Did you receive the email?
I did, no, I didn't.
Did you look in spam?
I didn't get a chance to look at spam. I was busy this week.
That's where I found,
You found yours in spam? Okay. So I'll look, mine's probably in spam too.
What happened is when I accessed the Constant Contact, I had to change. I removed Corey's email as the sent from and reply to email address and inserted mine. And I think that may have just triggered it to go to spam for a number of people who had, Corey's as an authorized, email address or something.
The other individual that notified me over the weekend was questioning why you guys weren't having Zoom, and I told him that that's not a requirement, that that's a courtesy, having Zoom.
Thank you.
We don't have the technology, we don't have the, not that you don't have the technology, we ourselves don't have the technology to
Correct,
make
but
that
when
happen.
people got so used to the Zoom,
Yeah.
they thought it was something that had to be done, and I told them that that's not a requirement, but eventually we could maybe get there with you guys too.
Hopefully with the new employee we get
Yeah.
to be trained to do that. We're hoping for that.
Maybe Rob will take that job.
Yeah, Rob, you want a job? Another
He
job?
does his best work between 2 and 4 a.m.
10 hours a month.
10 hours a month, Rob.
7:30 a.m.
He's definitely not a
Yeah,
morning
she's
person.
handled that. That can't happen before you got here.
Oh, did
So
it?
we're gonna take care of it, yeah. Okay, anything else, Suzanne? Thank you. Rob, do you have anything?
No.
Suzanne?
Brooke, do you have anything? You don't want to tell us how dysfunctional we sound? Thank you.
Suzanne, I know it's not your job, but as a matter of course, if you would just, if people call with concerns like that, just please tell them, ask them to please be here. We would so love their participation,
Yeah, now that.
as
they can
opposed
come.
to.
Encourage them
Thank
to
you.
come in.
Encourage them to
Okay,
come to
sure.
meetings.
Yeah, all
Be
right.
part of it, absolutely.
So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion
It is
adjourn.
9:18.
Second.
Okay, we have a
Done.
motion, a second. Comments, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Oh.